Can James Gunn's Superman actually save the DCU? I don't know, but we're going to find out. And actually, that title kind of makes no sense to me because James Gunn is starting the DCU. It was the DCEU that he killed. So I get what they're trying to say, though. I get what they're trying to say.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a
Oh,
locomotive.
okay, guys. This is the definitive version of Superman, in my opinion. The Fleischer cartoons. I got Fleischer and Christopher Reeve probably around the same time, but I watched these a lot as a kid. They're perfect.
Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound.
This is Superman, and this is Superman reinvented for a new age.
Hey, buddy.
I wonder how biased this is going to be. This is Superman reinvented for a new age. Throws a can at his head. Okay.
Eyes up here.
Sure, the standards are there, the blue suit, red cape, and spit curl, but somehow this
I like
new
the spit
take
curl.
on Superman seems like a bold departure and a reinterpretation of what's come before. How is that possible? Well, unlike many of the people who adapted your
I don't know, though. David is screaming a lot in these commercials. Not that I'm saying that's bad or good, but Superman didn't really scream like that in the Fleischer comics. They've showed that twice already.
favorite comic book characters to the big screen, James Gunn is a lifelong devotee of the funnies, and this new Superman film just might be the most unique version of the Big Blue Boy Scout that's ever existed for exactly that reason.
Yeah, it could be. It could be the most unique. Again, whether that's good or bad, that's up to you to decide. But it could be the most unique version out there because James Gunn's movies, they do heavily focus on humor. And the last humorous Superman movie we got didn't do too good. Superman 3.
This is how you're gonna be?
I'm not the one being interviewed, Superman.
It's no secret that people like Bryan Singer, Richard Donner, and Zack Snyder aren't
That Superman Returns plays scene is epic still to this
comic
day.
book fans. Yes, there are auteurs who each breathed new life into Krypton's last son, but they're all far from Wednesday warriors. The cinematic version of Superman would not exist, obviously, without their contributions, but each of their celluloid outings were successful in spite of the fact that they just don't have an encyclopedic
Put it in the comments, what the crap is a celluloid outing?
knowledge of the character's origins. And why should they? Being a great film director doesn't require a PhD in DC continuity, and when it does, that's when you know it's time to pack it in. However, the fact that the Man of Steel's current steward does possess that aforementioned degree just might be the key to saving the entirety of Warner Brothers.
Being
Okay.
a child, I loved the purity of Superman. This character's noble, and he's beautiful.
That was from the Superman Day celebration video that they did, and it was one of the biggest things that gave me hope for this new movie. When he starts talking about his understanding of the Superman character, that's when I was like, okay. Kind of like Jim Carrey. So you're telling me there's a chance. Dumb and Dumber. Y'all remember? No? Okay.
Yes, obviously, the darker, more brooding version of the character that was displayed in Snyder's DCEU has its defenders. However, when it comes to selling toys, you know who buys more of those
I've got one of those right up there. You can't see it. I've actually got two of them.
than adults? Children.
Superman comes in like boom! Bad guys gotta learn. You don't mess with the act!
And you
right.
know who's been Superman's #1 constituency since the 1930s? Children.
You wouldn't know it with the way us adults are yelling at each other on the internet lately.
This fact is largely due to the character's inherent kindness, moral fortitude, and his inherent wish fulfillment power fantasy. Everyone's favorite scowling Dia de los Muertos participant is pretty much the exact opposite of this ethos.
Superman was never real. Just the dream of a farmer from Kansas.
That farmer's dream is all some people have. This means something.
He did on my world. My world doesn't exist anymore.
So it came as no surprise
Those movies can depress me sometimes. I'm already depressed now.
when it was revealed that the first project that Gunn was working on for the burgeoning DCU was titled Superman Legacy. Many initially hoped that this would be a brighter take on Superman, but still utilize the talents of Henry Cavill, who had just been teased for a return at the end of Black Adam.
That's true. That was extremely disappointing. I don't need Henry Cavill to be Superman. Let me make that clear. But when it was brought up that he was going to be, and then there was like a new, James Gunn was coming along, I was like, oh, this is going to be great. And then James Gunn already had a vision that didn't require a man that was already 40. You know what I mean? Like it was It was kind of devastating, and it went away.
Tragically, that was not meant to be. What did make longtime comic fans scratch their head even more was the fact that during his continued promotion for the project, Gunn would consistently cite All-Star Superman as a key influence. How could this project, a film that would follow a younger Superman reckoning with his Kryptonian heritage, be influenced so deeply by All-Star? A comic about, spoiler alert, the last son of Krypton dying.
Yeah, I've made this point before. And the funny thing is, I really don't even consider that comic to be the greatest comic of all time. It's like a 7 out of 10 for me. It's a fun read, but it doesn't do it for me. I will say that Grant Morrison knows his comics, though.
Your cells are oversaturated with power. They are bursting from within.
I'm dying.
I'm sorry, Superman.
Written by Grant Morrison and
Animation actors.
drawn by Frank Quitely, All-Star Superman's high concept is simple. Superman's cells are dying. They've absorbed too much of our sun's yellow radiation and are finally breaking down. And then, in the ultimate act of self-sacrifice, have Kal-El attempt to use every last bit of his energy to help as many people as possible. Each issue of All-Star follows Superman as he takes up some sort of quest.
And that is why the story is held as so good, because it understands the character of Superman in a big 12-issue series of a bunch of wackiness.
The adventures are as simple as Superman giving Lois a serum that gives her superpowers, or as complicated as journeying to Bizarro World. However, this high concept of watching what Superman does with his remaining time doesn't nearly sum up why All-Star is so good. The book is complicated and has a distillation of everything that Superman fans have come to love about the character.
Complicated is the big word here. It is so complicated that most people don't even get what they're reading. It's jumping from story to story. You forget what it was about after you're a few issues in. It's complicated.
The purpose of All-Star wasn't just to make a good Superman comic, but to make a comic that could be accessible to anyone and would communicate why Superman is the most important character to come out of the funny pages.
You love the script.
I love the script, and people love the script, and so I feel great about the script.
At first glance, it's easy to see why James Gunn would look to All-Star as a text to draw inspiration from, considering his creative goal. This movie was tasked
as long as that focus is on the character and not what happens in the story. I'm done with Superman dying. I'm just done with it.
With being a gateway drug to Superman, and more importantly, to explain to them why Superman works, why it's important to be kind to people, how on a totemic level, perverting the goodness of Superman like the Snyderverse did, warps the good in all of us.
I'm doing good.
Superman does good. You doing well.
He's a sigil of what it means to wake up and choose to be open and warm in the face of the harsh realities of existence. However, here's where you run into a problem. In a perfect world, you'd just adapt All-Star into a movie and call it a day. Oh wait, they tried that and it wasn't very good. But that's not what's being asked for. You're not going to launch a massive cinematic universe on a story about a dying Superman. So how is James Gunn going to handle the actual plot elements of All-Star?
How could I create a Superman that's true to the character of Superman, and yet is a take on Superman that's different enough?
Look how he holds his thumb over his hand. Let me see if I can. Look at that. Isn't that weird? Sorry, but he's making good points, though.
Worth, making a big budget movie about it.
Well, when asked about this exact question, Gunn replied, "Our plot has nothing to do with All-Star Superman, but some of the aesthetics of what Grant wrote and Frank drew were incredibly influential."
That gives me a lot of confidence.
This is quite a pivot from the original DCU Gods and Monsters announcement video, where the main image of Superman that's on screen when he's talking about the upcoming Superman movie is just the cover to All-Star #1. In the trailers and teasers that we've seen for Gunn's new Superman movie, it looks like a classic and timeless Superman story. The inciting incident appears to be Superman intervening in military conflict, and this causes the world to question, should Superman have complete freedom to make decisions that could fundamentally shift the power structure of the global stage?
Which, in Batman vs. Superman, that was kind of an issue that they were having, is that he was acting unilaterally, and he was, going and doing things without any sort of approval from anybody. I know that's not exactly what's happening here, but it's pretty similar, and that worried me a little bit when I saw that, because I'm like, listen, I'm done with him being dead. I'm done with doing the exact same storylines, and then the movie comes out. It's got Lex, which we've done a billion times, and it's got this, focus. I was a little worried whenever I first saw these things.
We see Clark and Lois debating the moral ethics of Superman intervening in foreign diplomacy.
You seemingly acting as a representative of
I
the
wasn't
United States will
representing
cause
anybody
more
except for me
problems around the world.
and doing good.
The movie looks new, fresh, and exciting, and the main reason for that is because it appears to be drawing from not just All-Star, but many classic Superman stories. Gunn even took to Instagram recently to discuss the other key influences for the film, which include Superman the Animated Series, Superman for All Seasons, the Fleischer cartoons, Kingdom Come, the Kurt Swan Superman family books, and the new 52 Superman titles, among others.
Thank you.
No need to thank us, sir, as we will not appreciate it. We have no consciousness whatsoever.
But here's the
I thought that was hilarious when I saw that. People were dogging on that. I don't understand why they were dogging on that. I thought it was funny, and I thought it was funny when the little other robot, was like, "Oh, he likes me." I thought it was funny.
The stakes for this film are at an all-time high. If this film doesn't work, like if it doesn't break $1 billion, DC and Warner's as a whole might be in severe trouble.
If it doesn't break $1 billion, if it doesn't break $1 billion, it's not going to break $1 billion. I don't think. Here's why. I mean, it may, but here's why I don't think it's going to break $1 billion, because it's a first movie in a new series. Now, I know you could argue that Superman is an old thing, but it's been done so many times, it's like old hat. It's a rebooting again. It's a first movie with no big name actors as the main cast. And most movies that get $1 billion usually either have some sort of popular franchise that's never been done. They have something that has a lot of big name actors, or something that is connecting from other movies. That's usually where your $1 billion movies are coming. It's very rare to have $1 billion movies that just pop out of nowhere and nobody knows anything about it, and it's got $1 billion. Now, this has Superman, but again, Superman's kind of been done to death, so people are kind of tired of it. So that kind of is actually going against it, not for it. So I don't know. The billion... 900 million is a success to me. Like, 900 million is really a success. 800 million is a success to me. I don't understand why $1 billion's the mark. That's dumb.
In a recent report, it's detailed that there's speculation of if Superman doesn't meet the Warner Discovery brass sky-high expectations, the whole studio could be sold off. This doomsday scenario is offered up with a degree of seriousness that previously would have been completely unthinkable. One of the biggest and oldest studios currently going is going to seriously go the way of 20th Century Fox if one movie doesn't succeed? Really? That's unthinkable.
Hey, quit messing around.
I'm not messing around. I'm doing important stuff.
It's mildly unthinkable, but with WB's track record, they have mismanaged their superhero line a lot. So them doing something that doesn't fall in line with what's smart, no, that makes perfect sense with what they've been doing.
Superman films work. Who knows? The jury is still out, but it's obvious he really is swinging for the fences. Superman always saves the day. Well, unless his true kryptonite wasn't made up of shards of his home planet, but corporate greed all along. Let's hope truth, justice, and the American way still rings true. And well, that's all.
Except they're not saying American way, so it's not true.
All we have for this episode. What do you think? Will Superman succeed at the box office? Let us know in the comments below, and as always, like, comment, and subscribe for more Nerdstalgic episodes just like this.
Okay, so he basically opened a can of worms because the title of the video is "Can James Gunn Superman Actually Save the DCU?" And then the cap that he put on it is it has to make $1 billion. So I don't know. You tell me. Is James Gunn's Superman going to make $1 billion? And if it does or doesn't, is that going to be what saves it? Is $1 billion the marker? If it makes 950 million, is it like, no good? That doesn't make any sense to me. Like, I don't understand that. I think even if it makes 700 million, that's enough to keep on going. And honestly, I think James Gunn might have said that if he breaks even, he'll be happy and continue. You know what I mean? Like, and breaking evens, that's going to happen. I'm quite positive he's going to break even. With a budget of 225 million, including marketing and all that stuff. I mean, 500 million. Yeah, I think it'll make that. So as far as he said, I think that he'll definitely He'll definitely be continuing with this, whether people think it failed or flopped or not. So I don't know. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think in the comments. And if you're a Cavill fan and you're sitting here thinking to yourself, this doesn't make any sense. How can people even think that this movie is going to do good if it, just you can like David and Cavill at the same time. It is possible, I promise you. And if you don't think it is, we'll just watch this video right here because I go over how I can do it.